Today we're going to talk about Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem used to be part of our geometry curriculum, but now it's part of our 8th grade math. Pythagoras was an ancient Greek who discovered the Pythagorean Theorem, hence the name. Pythagorean Theorem is all about right triangles. Remember, a right triangle is a triangle that has a 90-degree angle. We're going to hurry and talk about the parts of a right triangle. A right triangle has two legs. The legs are the two sides that surround the 90-degree angle. We're going to call one of the legs leg A and the other leg B. The third side, which is always the longest side, is called the hypotenuse. And we're going to call the hypotenuse on this triangle C. Before we tell you what the Pythagorean Theorem is, we're going to show you how it works. I've got 3 squares over here that I'm going to use to help me out. I have a triangle A, B, and C, where A and B are the legs, and C is the hypotenuse. If I bring, we're going to have to slide this over. If I bring the yellow square over to the side, you can see that it has a side length of A. That means the square has side lengths of A all the way around. Remember, to find the area of a square, it was side times side, or base times height. That means that the area of this square is A times A, or A squared. If I bring the red square, you can see that it has a side length of B. That means that the side lengths are B all the way around the square. That means that the area of this square is B times B, or B squared. And finally, the purple square. When we bring it over, you can see that it has a side length of C. Since the side lengths are C all the way around, that means that this square has an area of C times C, or C squared. We're going to drag these squares off to the side. And we're going to put A squared and B squared kitty corner from each other and leave C squared off to the side for now. Next, I'm going to take my original triangle and I'm going to start making some duplicates of it so that they're exactly the same size as our original triangle. 8 duplicates to be exact. I'm first going to bring one of our triangles over and put it by the A squared and the B squared. I'm going to take a second triangle and flip it upside down and bring it over by the other one. Next, I'm going to turn this triangle and put it on the other side of A squared, B squared. And I'm going to bring a fourth triangle. It's important to remember that there are 4. And plug this hole right here so that all of these fit together nicely. They should fit together nicely. Okay, close enough. Next, I'm going to surround the whole shape with a black square border. So that now you can see that a squared and b squared together with those 4 blue triangles make a square. Now I'm going to bring my remaining 4 triangles and I'm going to use them to surround c squared. There's the second one. Here's a third. And here's a fourth. Now that I have these triangles in place, I'm going to make a duplicate of the square border that I put around a squared and b squared. We're making a duplicate so that you know that it's exactly the same size. When I bring it up here to the square I made for c squared, you can see that they are the same size of square. The square down here with a squared, b squared, and my 4 blue triangles take up the same amount of area as c squared and 4 blue triangles. What does that mean for us? Well, that means that a squared and b squared take up the same amount of area as c squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to write that in an equation. We're going to write that a squared, when combined with the area of b squared, take up exactly the same amount of space as c squared. That's what this equation means, and that is the Pythagorean theorem. Just a reminder that I had legs of a and b. They always have to be the 2 legs of our right triangle, and a hypotenuse of c. The hypotenuse always has to be on the opposite side of a squared and b squared. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to find missing side lengths of a right triangle. In this example, we've got a right triangle with legs of 3 and b, this one we don't know, and a hypotenuse of 5. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, to solve for our missing side length. If a is 3, then I'm going to plug it in for a and make that 3 squared. B is my missing measure, so I leave it as b squared. And now c is 5, so I'm going to put that in and make that 5 squared. Now I've got 9 plus b squared equals 25. When I subtract 9 from both sides, these cancel and I have b squared equals 16. This means that a number times itself has to equal 16. Sound familiar? Well, that means that b has to be the square root of 16, which means that b is 4. 4 is my missing side length. Let's try that again. This time A is my missing measure. So again, I'm going to write down Pythagorean Theorem. Remember, it only works on right triangles. Well, A is my missing measure this time, so A squared is just going to stay A squared. B is the second leg, that's 12, so 12 squared. And C is my hypotenuse, and in this case it's 15, so C squared becomes 15 squared. I have A squared plus 144 equals 225. Subtracting 144 from both sides gives me A squared is equal to 81. This means that a number times itself equals 81. That also means that A has to be the square root of 81. So A is 9. The missing side length A has to be 9 feet long. One more time. This time it's my hypotenuse that's missing. So I'm going to write down my Pythagorean theorem. I know leg A is 6. I know leg B is 10. It's my hypotenuse C that's missing this time. I have 36 plus 100 has to equal C squared. 136 is equal to C squared. So a number times itself has to be equal to 136. That means C has to be the square root of 136. And we're going to use our estimation to solve for the square root of 136, or to estimate. When you estimate, I hope that you get really close to 11.7, which means that our missing hypotenuse measure has to be 11.7 yards long, or at least really close to that. Remember that since this is a video, you need to write down your questions and ask them in class. Your assignment to go along with this video is the Pythagorean Theorem worksheet. Good luck!